Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you are listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin, and I am Kevin Martin. I am a hypnotist, a mindset coach, an author, and a bunch of other things. More importantly, here, this is my coffee. This is my new coffee cup today. You'll never guess who gave me this. You're doing great, sweetie. Of course, it was my sweetie. It was Brenda, my wife. Mm. Yeah, we got on a little bit late. We're running a little late this morning. Facebook, of all things, caused me all sorts of problems this morning. I had to reconnect. I had to do a bunch of stuff. But we're here. We are here. We are running. And I hope we have some people live that can chime in, comment, and say hi, say good morning, whatever it is. And boy, oh boy, it is, oh my goodness. It is the 29th. The 29th of April. We're going into May. We're almost halfway through this year already, 2025. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I heard a saying today that I hadn't heard before. I talk about this. I talk about the older you get, the faster time seems to fly, faster days seems to fly. And, and I talked about that's because of the ratio of our amount of lives that we've lived so far compared to a day, compared to a week. And that's why, when we were younger, we enjoyed so much and it seemed to last a long time. But as we get older, things go fast. And I heard this, good morning, Brenda. I just saw that. I heard this saying uh, that years fly by fast and days go so slow. I don't know that that is true because sometimes days will whip by like that. Weeks whip by like that sometimes. Oh my goodness. Mm. Good coffee this morning. Today, on the 29th of April, a couple of things stood out to me. One, it was Willie Nelson's birthday. I'm a big fan of Willie Nelson. Been following him for many, many years, almost since I was a kid, since I was in my teens. And he was 92 years old today. And I think I saw him on some shows recently, or at least in the past 6 months or so, where he was celebrating other people's birthdays or other people's passings. And he was singing. 92 years old. I have had the pleasure of seeing him live in several events over the years, and it's fantastic. It's just fantastic. I actually had the pleasure of seeing one of his original tour buses that someone had bought and turned it into a camping bus. Oh, yes. Also, 1967, Aretha Franklin released the hit Respect. 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 I spell it now because when I got up on stage and I was singing the song with my sister, maybe 40 years ago, I don't know. And I couldn't, when I got to the spelling of it, I spelled it wrong. And it crushed me. And then I got teased for the next 20 years for not knowing how to spell respect. But it was 1967 that song came out. Mm. What are we talking about today? We're talking about something really, really powerful. We're talking about something near and dear to my heart. We're talking about perspective. We're talking about perceptions. Perceptions. I'm going to give you a look. Sometimes you can't hear me when I go to the background, and I'm going to hide my view so you can see what's in back of me right now. Living Your Dream Life, second edition. This is my book that's about to be released and available. Second edition. I've been working on this for quite a while now. Living Your Dream Life, I released about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was a remake of my first book. and I loved it. And I started using it a few years ago with all my clients. It is a wonderful book, and it's got exercises in it, and it goes through a lot of the basics that we should be doing with ourselves, and we should know about ourselves. And this, I call it the basics, but still many people don't know this. It's a I rewrote it recently. Well, I rewrote it and about to launch it because I felt that it made some great points. I wanted it even stronger. I wanted it even better. And this release is coming out within the next week or two. So look for it and listen for it. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. So today is on perceptions, perspectives. In my own quote, I talk about, our beliefs drive our perceptions drive our experiences, and our experiences drive our results. Oh no, how we perceive our experiences drive our results. So that's a quote from me. I actually got that book right here. Let me quote that specifically. The way in which you perceive life determines the way in which you react to life. It is that reaction to life that determines where and how far we will go. It determines where and how far we will go. And I truly believe that. I would have moved on to my next book, and I wouldn't have rewritten this about perceptions, about our perspectives, and how important they are to our own reality. If I didn't believe in my heart that this is a key to our happiness, this is a key to our success. And some oh my God, exciting news. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Annie, it's been a long time. Hopefully, we'll get to see you up there in August when we're up there. Or if you come down here, you have to let us know. You have to let us know. My wonderful, incredible sister-in-law, who's been my sister-in-law since I was a kid. And so, Annie, love you and great seeing you here. Okay, so let's talk about perspectives. Let's see what our first. I came up with, I went searching and I went looking, and the quotes that I came up with, several I saw, I've known, I've used in the past, and several that I thought were just phenomenal coming up here. And this is one of them. Okay, we can accomplish. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorns have rose bushes. It's how we look at it, isn't it? One person can go, oh, that rose bush is so prickly. And one person can look at it and say, isn't that beautiful around the thorns? And their experiences are different. One is full of love and gratitude for what they're seeing. The other is just full of fear of getting hurt. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Okay. Let's look at our next one. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Wayne Dyer. Now, I believe this. I believe this in my heart. This is all about perceptions. And we can see something one way, and all of a sudden we have a light bulb event, an epiphany, and all of a sudden the same thing we are looking at is different for us, and often really good. Now, I've always said that each adversity that we have has a something good in it. It's that old silver lining. And we don't see that at first. We don't see that in the middle of the adversity most often. Although some of us are gifted that can, and it's wonderful when you can. But when you look at back at that adversity and say, "Oh my goodness, this changed my life for the good because I did that or I did this," and all of a sudden the thing that you had been looking at and thinking about that you hated, all of a sudden it's something wonderful. This happens in all sorts of things in our lives, not just adversities. And it is perspective. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you are walking up and you see something, and from a distance you see it and it doesn't look very good. Matter of fact, it looks like something to fear, and you walk closer and closer, and all of a sudden you walk close enough where you can see it from a different angle, and it's just something beautiful. Thorns and roses, huh? Things change. Things you look at change. They don't really change. Your experiences changes of what it is. It's not what you look at that matters. It's how you see. It's what you see. It's what you see. Because you're going to look at something many other people can look at. But what are you seeing? And Henry David Thoreau, I love quoting him, only because I've seen his house, his shack that he had built here in Massachusetts, on Walden Pond. Seen that, and I have an appreciation. This man was a poet. He was prolific in his writings. He was a philosopher. It's not what you look at that matters. It's what you see. And what you see is driven by what you believe. It's driven by how you think. It's driven by the lens that you have up here, that you have a lot of control over, by the way. Sometimes a change of perspective is all it takes to see the light. Dan Brown, I love that. Because I love Dan Brown, the books, the movies, wonderful stuff. I didn't know he was a philosopher. Sometimes a change of perspective is all it takes to see the light. That's right. It's all it takes to see the light. And the light can be whatever you want it to be. It's going to be whatever you are already programmed to see. But let me tell you, you have control over that programming. No, if you don't like the way you're programming now, if you don't like the way you're experiencing the world now, you don't like the fact that you see everything negative, you think everything negative, you can change that. It doesn't happen like that unless you're seeing somebody to help it happen like that. But you can start being aware of those negative thoughts. As I tell all my clients, if you're worried about something you think will happen, that's not positive. Instead, try to think of what would you like to happen instead. And just having your mind go there to what would you like to happen instead starts that change. The more often you do it, the more often it'll happen for you. And the more often you will see and experience the positive things. And the last one for today. The last one for today is a real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, no, but in having new eyes. Of course, you're not going to get literally new eyes, but instead of constantly journeying to look for something better, those new landscapes, try to look at what you've been looking at in a better light with those new eyes. What good can you find in the stuff that you that has bothered you all this time? You know, it's simple, and it keeps on going back to the definition of failure. You know, what does failure have to do with perceptions? What does failure have to do with what we've been talking about? Well, what keeps on ringing in my head is failure is not a failure if you can learn something from it. The fact that learning something from a failure means you're starting to look at it in a different way. It forces you to look at it in a different way. It forces you to actually look for the good in things. So if you're constantly looking at things and said, okay, this doesn't feel good, this doesn't look good, what can be good there? And at minimum, if it's just a learning for you, that is good enough. That is good enough. Wow. Let's see. Manya, welcome back. Joan, thank you very much. Yeah. This has been great. This has been a great subject. I'm passionate about this. I love this subject because it's true. The way we have our own version of reality. And maybe I'll spend time next week or in the coming weeks on our reality because I believe so much that we have our own version of reality. And it's driven by our beliefs, our morals, our values, our experiences. And we can shape that reality. If we don't like our reality now, let's shape our reality. If you didn't have the bad, you wouldn't appreciate the good. There is that duality that is really, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But let's have more good than bad. Let's have more good than bad. You know, I tell my clients all the time, you know, the more you think about something, the more you're going to increase the odds of getting it. So start thinking about good things. Start thinking about positive things. If you have 50% more thoughts of positive things, and they're what, 65,000 thoughts in a day. uh, it's hard to keep track of this. If you have more thoughts, positive thoughts than negative thoughts, more positive things are going to happen in your life. Or at least you'll perceive them more positively, and then you'll feel more positively, and it becomes a wonderful steamroller, a wonderful thing that's going to increase and continue to increase. And you'll feel so much better about yourself and everything around you. So, coffee with Kevin. I hope you are enjoying a nice hot cup of coffee, a hot cup of tea, or a cold drink maybe. Maybe it's water. Maybe you've got a smoothie. But cheers to you. And I wish you, again, you're doing great, sweetie. Everyone out there. I wish you the best. I wish you a fantastic day, an incredible week. And as I say all the time, it's not my wishes that'll do it for you. It'll be you doing it for you. You have the choice. You can do it. Have an incredible day. Bye, all.